Hello, 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 guys. We are back. Salvage Saturday. It's 12, almost 12:30 on Saturday, so I don't know if this will make it up by 2 o'clock, but I don't know. It'll come out on Saturday at least. So we are still working with Pianola paper, and these are ones that I glued onto the back of this pinkish, peachish colored scrapbook paper, so it doesn't crack as easily as the brown one did. And I'm just going to do a quick little, yeah, see, it folds just fine. And I have 4 pieces, so I'm actually going to do it as two separate plans here. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut off this strip with the words on it. Looking for the pencil that I had on my desk. I swear I lose pencils faster than I lose tweezers. It's very warm in my room right now too. Okay, I'm going to use the permanent marker, so I'm going to actually flip it over to the other side. So on this one, I'm going to measure it out to 5. Yeah, did I do that on the right side? Keep these together and straight. My ruler is not quite long enough, so we're gonna have to do this in 2 stages. I'm lining up with the marks that I made. Now these will fit in my trimmer. That's the big part, is that they don't fit in the trimmer because they're too long this way. My trimmer is only is not 12 inches long. So you can see here, there's the end of my cutter. So it's only 11 inches, so can't cut 12-inch paper. So first thing we're going to make is some envelopes. I'm like, where did they go? So these are 2 that I've made ahead of time. You don't have to do the thumb notch. I like having the thumb notch. These are already glued down. Okay, make sure they're sticking. So that scrapbook paper does not like to take glue very well. It's probably just due to age, but and I've got some edge dies to do the pretty edge. The first one I cut backwards, so I ended up with this as an edge, which doesn't look so bad. I don't mind it. It's hard to see, but I also did not ink any of these. So using the ones with the words on it, the first thing you're going to want to do is decide where you want, because there's going to be words on all of them. So do you want your words upright on the front or upright on the back? Okay, so if you want them upright on the front, you're going to fold from the bottom, and that's going to be your first flap. It's going to be the top of your envelope. Okay. and then decide how tall you want your envelope. I'm going to do this. Make some shorty envelopes, it looks like. So you're going to fold this up, but you want to make sure that it goes up under that flap. You can leave it straight like this, that's why, but I personally, I like having the little thumb notch in there. Okay, then I'm also going to get my walnut stain out. We're going to ink. You can sew these, which I contemplated doing, but again, it requires me to take my sewing machine out. And as I've said before, that's a bit of a production for me. So I'm just going to go on the fold there. On the fold here. I'm not inking this part yet because we're going to die cut that first. So again, if you want your words on the front to be the right side, fold from the bottom. Okay, fold this up. Do your thumb notch if you're gonna. So this one's got a lot of words on it. This is a good example. Your words on the front are upright. Well, I don't like this says dies and the blessed ones with melodies is what it's supposed to be. Blessed ones with melodies. But because it's the only thing on the front, it says dies. So I'll probably trim that off. But when you turn it over, you'll see the words are backward, upside down. So there's that. So let's pick out that's the one I just did. Now I did discover when I did the first ones that I put it in the machine wrong. Surprise, surprise. I put it this way thinking line up the straight edges, which is how I ended up with this one. But it did give me a little, a little strippy to play with. But wrong end. We're going to flip that around. It's not the one I decided on, is it? This is the one I decided on. So for these, you've got the cutting edges is here. Cutting edge is here. There's no cutting edge here. So this side you put facing in. And you line the cutting edge out there with the edge of your piece. Now the dies are longer than my papers, which I'm okay with. Just means I gotta try to center it as best I can. Okay, hold up. Because I'm working with pianola paper, it's wanting to curl, which is pushing my die. So I'll put a little bit of washi tape on there. Just to hold it in place. Oh, if the washi sticks. Okay. And that is being done off camera. I do apologize, but my machine is off to my left. So then, when you pull this off, cuts your edge. I'm going to leave the tape on that one for now. You're going to bring in your pokey tool. Poke out any extras. And there will almost always be extra things that you got to punch out when you're working with these, especially these intricate little, pieces. You can decide whether you want to ink the inside flap fold also. Woo. Okay, I'm gonna have to. So that went down below. Right there is the edge of the envelope. Right here. It's okay. It's okay. Then glue up one side. I'll show you two different ways to do envelopes with these. A lot of clippies on there. Like I said, that it's not wanting to stick. I'm really warm in here. I gotta turn my fan on. Let's do one not quite as deep on this one. I do like the scalloped look. So again, you put the scalloped edge on the outer edge of your piece. straight edge, which is the non-cutting edge, toward the bulk of your stuff. Sorry, I know that was probably really loud. Because I'm having to work with warped plates. So again, there's your piece that cut off. Seriously. Then you can peel your die off. That's weird, it's stuck to the paper that time. Knock out any weeds left in your garden here. Okay, and then you can ink up. Which I didn't do on that last one. Come on. Glue your edges down. Put a little bit more glue on that side. Go ahead. Got Fabrifix on my upper lip. So go ahead and put some ink on this while we're got it out. Oh, one thing at a time. This is what happens. No caffeine in me. My brain doesn't go all correct. So there's your cute little envelope. Now for me, I'm going to leave the closure part of it alone for now because I don't know how I would use this in the journal. If I decide to use it as an insert, I'll find a closure. If I decide I want to put it in as a belly band, which I could, that's why I measured it to 5 inches so it fit in a half-page journal. But I'd glue here and here, and then this would become a belly band. I would definitely put something here that matches that journal's theme as a closure. Or I could even do, you know, run some glue with a ribbon, bring it around and tie it in the front. So there's different ways of doing that. Take care of that. So let's go ahead and do this one, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half like I did the last time. Just to get these 4 out of the way. So again, I'm folding from the bottom first to make my flat, my closure flat. And then from this end, folding it up. Looks like some of my glue came loose. I did these with glue stick and it just doesn't hold. I think what's happening is that the glue is seeping into the scrapbook paper, so it's not adhering fully. It's losing some of its, some of its oomph. Again, we're not going to do that top one. There's not much words left on this one, so it doesn't really matter which way you go. But for continuity's sake, I'm doing it from the bottom and folding up. Now this is a great simple envelope pattern that you can do, that you can easily alter to any size. To fit, you could do little mini ones if you wanted to. What are we going to do as a already did that one. How about hearts? I like when they center easily. Okay, I'm going to put this on my plate while this one's going. Although, I was going to say while this one's going, I'll figure out the next one, but it goes pretty fast when this is all you're doing, So take out your scrap piece. Pull it off. Get a little inkage. I'm gonna come in here. It's cute. Little hearts. And then this one, I think I'm going to do this one. take off your garbage piece. Carefully take off your die. Take your pokey tool and do out any extras that are hanging. My daughter told me that this is called weeding because you're getting rid of the pieces that you don't want, which makes sense, you know, when you're weeding in your garden, right? You're getting rid of the pieces you don't want. Now this particular one created these little nubbies up on top, which I'm going to just trim those off there and right here. Nothing major. It's just eliminating a snag point. So again, just putting some ink on those. Okay. Should have had this one gluing while I was working on that other one. It definitely does not help either that, the paper is still wanting to curl. You could iron it. And there's that one. The hearts. There's that one. There's the this side's not wanting to hold. We're gonna. Okay, so this next envelopes, you don't really. You kind of have a straight edge, but not really, because you're coming down into a point. Okay, so we're gonna set these off to the side. Put them on top of my machine since I'm not going to be needing those anymore. Okay. Now we have this pieces that are cut down, right? So these are six and 3/8. Because it's got this edge over here. that is going to be torn off. If you're using these, don't throw these parts away. Use them for stamping, you can use them in collage. Now, unlike the other paper that I had, the brown one, I could have used those, you know, just integrated them as part because they do fold, but yeah. So you want these to be a square, so they're 6 3/8 wide. Let's do 6 3/8. Do 2 lines so that I have something to measure against. Those aside for the moment because I do have an envelope punch board as well. Okay, so you start out with a square. I don't know how to use this technique if you wanted a rectangle square. Bring your 2 points together. You're not going to fold completely. You're just going to kind of come down and put a fold right here. Okay. Then go across the other direction. Do the same thing. Come down, put a fold right there. That's where you're folding all your stuff to. So you're going to take 1 point and fold it up to there. Whoop. Okay. Then next, so there's the 3 points of your envelope, right? Now you could do it just a little past that center point, and what that'll give you is a bit of an overlap, number one, but it gives you kind of a more rounded off appearance. This one, I'm like, where's the line? There, there. So if you choose to cross them a little bit, what you're going to need to do is snip a corner, because it creates like a little overlap here. So you're going to cut this little triangles out. And you'll see on the punch board that that's what, you know, that's what the punches are all about on the punch board. Okay. So now you got one in. This should be straight across. Let's just trim it just a hair. So then it gives you this little edge like on real envelopes. So when you put that in, you put this one in, and you glue it up. So put a little glue here, and some glue here. Fold that up. straight. And then there's your envelope. And you can even fold this down more if you want a bigger flap. You just have to do some little extra cutting right here. So you're going to trim that down. And across. If you're making that adjustment after the fact, where's the line that I'm cutting? Like so. That gives you a deeper envelope lid, so to speak. Before you get, what I would do, before I get too far into things, is I would stick my hand in here, or a flat ruler or something, just to make sure you didn't accidentally glue your envelope closed. You could do something with this end. I don't know where my rounder is still, so I'm just going to snip the end off and make it a flat. So again, I'll decorate this when I decide. You know, it's now, it started out 6 3/4. It is now 4 1/4, so it will fit in a pocket with no problem, by 3 7/8. It'd be 4 1/4, but since I shortened it, so it will fit in a pocket this way. It'll fit in a pocket this way. You can use it as a belly band still, gluing here and here, and then tag slides in behind here. Pocket. So neat little envelope. So let's do that again with this one. How is my square not square? Square. Pinch there. Goes this way. Come down. You don't have to crease the whole thing, just crease it in the middle so you know where you're at. And this time I'm going to shoot just a little past that center point. This is going to be my lid, so I'm going to go even further down than I did the other two. So let's see, it creates, I'll show you on here, it creates these little triangles right here. And you cut those little triangles out all the way around. That's weird. I wonder why it's... Doing some weird things. I think my angle's wrong there. Trim it down so that it looks right. Okay. Trim a little bit more where here it's getting caught up. Okay. Now, there's a lot of overlapping there, so just to kind of help my stuff work together a little better, put a little glue there, so I glue that one down first, and then I'm going to put glue on the flap, because in this case the flap is the smaller of the two surfaces. All my angles are crooked. I think my square was still not square. But there's that. Now, if I was wanting to do a triangle, a rectangle pocket, there's probably a way to do that. I don't know that I've ever really seen it. So I have two different types of envelope punches. I have this one, which is a We Are Memory Keepers all-in-one. So say we want a 3x5 envelope. So we need our paper to be 6.5 by 6.5. The advantage to doing this is that your cutter is already here. Oh, that's not 6.5. Okay, so what can I do with 6.25? Oh, I can go 6 1/8. That'll work. Now I'm lining up over here, not up here. I don't know how well you guys can see that. But if I line it up here, I don't get a 90 degree. That was a problem that I discovered. I bought one of these for myself and one for my daughter, and neither of ours line up properly. Which is probably why they were on sale. So 6 1/8 by 6 1/8. So on this one, that creates a 3.5 by 4, or it can create a 3.5 by 4 inch envelope. Okay. So 2 7/8 is my adjustment. So for using this, you line your envelope arrow up with your envelope arrow here. Two 7/8. Line your paper up 2 7/8 on the straight edge. Oh, I don't even have my scoring tool. And you score from right here. Okay. Now you turn. Let me double check on this one. Yes, align score marks with the score guide. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure of that before I do too much. So here's your score guide right here. So you're gonna turn your page 90 degrees, put your score line even. Might help if I actually turned it. Make it even with your score there. And this only works if you have one of these boards, obviously. But there's another punch board that I have that I can show you guys in just a moment. Find your groove. There it is. I don't actually use this board much at all. Okay, and then spin again, line up with the score, and come down. Boop. Okay. You got your score lines, so you just fold in, fold in, fold in, and fold in. So these are obviously your sides. You want to figure out which one's going to be your top, which one's going to be your flap. This paper did crack a little bit doing this one. Now you'll see that this point goes up above that. For me, I like to fold it. I like a cleaner edge than that. So I'll fold this point down. Try to do it evenly. And then I fold it to the inside and glue it down. And then this is smaller than these two, not by much. This, doing it with the memory keeper, I don't like it because it doesn't give you a whole lot of room. You have to have the smallest little bead of glue, otherwise you glue your envelopes closed. But as I was saying, I don't really use that scoreboard for much because it doesn't measure correctly. Or it doesn't cut a straight line. It cuts one straight line, but as soon as you try to use it again, you end up with a cattywampus little thing because it doesn't line up straight. So there's that envelope. You can round this corner, you can notch it however you want, but yes, I like that clean edge rather than a point there. So there's that. Now the other envelope punch, I'm sure most of you have seen. If you've watched enough videos anyway, you probably have seen this punch. So this one I'm going to start with the same, with I got to measure this out first. Let's go 6 by 6 on this one. and that will create a 3 by 4. I'm gonna get my good trimmer out. Cut this end off. I'm deciding to cut the word off of that end, just because there's no words anywhere else on there. I'm really thirsty. So this, for 6 by 6, it gives you a 3 by 4 envelope. You start with a 6 by 6 paper, and you start at score line. You start your score lines at 2 5/8. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to slide your paper up in here, and you're going to line your edge with 2 5/8. And you're going to score just like that. Same concept as last one. You're going to spin it. You're going to line your score line up with this little pointer. Now this is where I get messed up with all of these, is it need to be right on the pointer line, to the left of it. I don't use this often enough, honestly, to really know. So I'm lining it directly up with the line. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to punch. So this little device, you punch here and it takes out that corner, you know where I was talking about? The little triangle that you have to cut out. That little punch takes care of it. And the back of your punch is a corner rounder. Ta-da! So that is a nice little device. I mean, but like I said, I only use those if I need a rectangular pocket, because again, it's like, eh. So let's see. Let's try to get this straight this time, or straighter. In that one, you'll see this one, there's lots of overlapping that didn't happen with the We Are Memory Keepers one. This one gives you lots of space to glue. So I'm going to put some glue here, and I'm going to put some on the edge here and on the edge here. And that just ensures that you get a good adhesion of that flap. And there you have an envelope. That is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, so it fits a 3 by 4 card on the inside. there we go. So this paper is turning out to be a little more fragile than I expected it to be, so it is tearing. But again, this was an experiment. Backing it on this, I didn't realize how fragile this scrapbook paper was going to be. So back it on stronger paper. I've got a bunch of scrap backed on like brown paper packaging. You can back it with copy paper, you know, scrapbook paper, just, you know, whatever. Just make sure that whatever you're backing it with is strong enough to withstand being folded, scored and folded. All right, so we're right at 56 minutes. So we got envelopes. Look how cool they look, because you get the lines, you get the words, the lines, and then the simple just rectangle fold, and then you got a cute little envelope. Where's my other one? There we go. So envelopes with pianola rolls. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next Saturday. We'll figure out what we're going to do next.